Wicked is a movie that is fantastic but has terrible, abysmal, awful marketing. Meanwhile, Moana 2 is a terrible film that has wonderful marketing. So which way is this going to go? Disney is clearly testing out the waters of mediocrity with Moana 2, turning a beloved franchise into simply something they hope that families will gobble up regardless of the quality. We'll tell you which of these two movies is likely to succeed right now. Hello, folks. Happy to have you. Welcome in. Come on in. The water is fine. Folks, we're doing fine here, and we do even more fine when you click that like button. And we're going to tell you why Moana 2 and Wicked are perfect cases for us to study going forward for exactly what happens when quality and marketing are completely out of sync. And they are out of sync in the opposite ways with these movies. So, will it be moving audiences one way or the other? We'll explain what's likely to happen right now. Moana's down to 66% Valiant. I was just checking this. I wondered, I don't think it can stay fresh. I think it's going to be a rotten.
No, it's going to go lower.
Yeah.
The more word of mouth gets out over this
weekend.
You saw
it, Lorena, right?
Yes, I did.
I saw it today? Or you saw
no,
it
I saw
night?
it. No, I saw it. Yeah, I saw it last night.
Last night. Okay. I thought I saw you. Yeah. I know you posted something. I can't remember if it was today or last night, but yeah, I think your reaction seemed to be, and I haven't seen it. I don't really have any intention of seeing it, to be fair, but I mean, I'm not the target audience either. But your reaction seemed to be the same reaction or very similar to what I've heard from pretty much everybody else. So it's kind of meh.
Moana is an interesting film because what they're trying to do here is say, based on the love of the brand and based on tremendous marketing, can we make a movie that has the quality of Lightyear or Strange World succeed?
Ooh.
And that's a really interesting experiment that we'll find out. I don't know the answer to it. Like, can you take something that people truly love and just make it suck? I hope Disney has coffee because they've got things to figure out. Let's take a look at the story, folks. It's from Anthony D'Alessandro out of Deadline. Moana 2 hooks $13 million plus preview records for Walt Disney Animation title, and pre-Thanksgiving Tuesday, Wicked popular with 16 million plus. Let's dive into this. There's some interesting things to be found.
And there is a follow-up piece to this that was done, a little bit later today, about an hour before my show started, from Anthony.
Disney's Moana 2 came in at 13.8 million in previews Tuesday night, which is the best preview figure ever. But we want to take a look at that. Let's discuss it. Moana 2 beat the preview figures of Inside Out 2. Okay, so that's legit. Toy Story 4 with 12 million. Frozen 2 with 8.5 million. Incredibles 2 with a 183 million three-day opening. So those are the films that it has beaten so far. Now the question is Moana 2, which I think is a very bad movie. I've seen it. I gave it a 4 out of 10. And that is because auli'i Cravalho and Dwayne Johnson and the animators gave everything they had to this film. Mm-hmm. But in every other way, it is terrible. If you take away the animation and you take away auli'i Cravalho and Dwayne Johnson, this is a 2 out of 10. Can that kind of movie that has a story that is a 2 out of 10 kind of story, can it beat Inside Out 2 just on the idea of brand familiarity and the love of the original movie? We'll find out.
No. I don't even need to see it. And I can tell you right now, the answer to that question is simple. The fact that Disney has found success with the first iteration of Moana, a renewed success, let me stipulate, because of Disney Plus, they're going to find that the leg out of this movie is going to be impacted by the same behavioral pattern of that audience. And that is that they're going to wait to rewatch this or even watch it for the first time once it reaches the D Plus streaming service.
All right. So we've got Wicked. Now this is the interesting thing. Despite how well Moana 2 did on its preview, Wicked still did better. Okay. So that's interesting. This is also interesting, and this is what you were referring to, Valiant, I believe. Again, from Anthony D'Alessandro over on Deadline. Mm-hmm. Can we get a chee-hoo? Moana 2 easily hooking best opening at $170 million plus.
Yep.
So the question then is, What is the multiplier? Valiant, I go to you to ask that. Like, is this a 2X? Is it a 3X? When you have it's a terrible movie.
Mhm.
What will a terrible movie do if it's a 170 plus opening? I mean, is this Last Jedi? Is this Rise of Palpatine? What are we looking at?
I would say my prediction on this is going to be, this is the way too early prediction. So this could obviously have the potential of being completely, horribly, egregiously wrong. But if the movie is as bad as audiences are reacting, like Lorena, like Alan, like everybody else I've seen talking about this, plus you add in the metric that I just threw out there regarding the whole Disney Plus behavioral pattern for the first Moana, then I think 2.5x might be a reasonable middle ground assumption at this point. So if you look at 170 million, and this is just to Alessandro, so just to be clear, he is talking domestic. This is a 5-day domestic. If you scroll down through, you'll realize the 3-day he's talking about, Friday through Sunday, is about 90 million. So the 170 million is what we get when we add in the previews that happened Monday, Tuesday, the first day today, Thanksgiving Day tomorrow, Friday through Sunday. That gets us to a 5-day plus preview of 170. That's the estimate. So if we go 2x from there, we're at 340 million. If we go 2.5x from there, we're at about 300 million domestic, or a little shy over 300 million. If we then double that for global box office, potentially more, because again, the first movie is from so many years ago that it's kind of almost unreasonable to presume that the international box office is going to perform comparative to domestic in the same fashion, because there's a lot more international screens now than I think when the first Moana movie came out, more availability. But then again, Moana also doesn't have, I don't think, they don't have a lot of serious competition for the next several weeks. I think the damage to Wicked is what's going to be the most interesting thing this weekend. They're still projecting Wicked to do fairly well, like 90 million on the 5-day, okay, Wednesday through Sunday, which I think
Right, and the question is how much of that 90 would otherwise go to Moana?
I look, Moana's still going to get the audience. The problem that I brought up earlier is that Moana 2 and Wicked, like it or not, basically share the same demographic audience. So you're talking about women, young girls. That's the audience for Wicked primarily. It's also the same audience demographically as Moana 2. This is going to be a brawl, right? So the better Wicked performs, the more Moana suffers. The better Moana performs, the more Wicked suffers. So we'll know it all Sunday, kids. We'll talk about it on the live show then, I guess, because this is a hard nut to crack.
Well, when it comes down to it, the question is, do Disney movies function like children's movies, or do they function like musicals? Because if it's the musical audience, it's going to go to Wicked. If it is the default children's audience, then Moana wins out.
In theory, it should be both, Jonas. The problem, however, is that which music is more readily known? Musically,
it is
Wicked.
Definitely the music from Wicked.
It is
right.
It is definitely Wicked.
Exactly.
The Moana 2
Yeah.
stuff. I mean, the best song on that soundtrack, and you know me, I love digging into a Disney soundtrack. The best song on that, if you want to go for a Moana song, Beyond, is about as good. It's about as memorable as Fathoms Below from Little Mermaid.
Which is not terribly memorable.
It's really not. It's really not. And then Can I Get a Chihu? I cannot
Wish.
Well, that's my.
That's
my point.
Jonas, Jonas, which is better, the Wish soundtrack or Moana 2?
Moana 2, but they're at least in the right form with Moana 2, but it's still just about as not unmemorable.
Commercially, Moana 2 will easily outstrip Wish, and that's only because of the recognizable portion of the first part of the title. Moana.
Can I Get a Chihu is confusing enough to someone who doesn't understand the artistry of You're Welcome, versus Can I Get a Chihu, which is it's Spracken sung, if you even want to call it
Explain
that.
that song real quick though, Jonas.
Oh, I thought that's a I thought a Chihu was a Pepperidge Farm snack. I'm sorry.
No, that is the name of the song. Like, can I get a Chihu? And I'm like, oh my God.
So this song though is so bizarre. Here's what's weird about this song. So Moana 2 was originally a Disney Plus TV show. And so it follows along like the episodic nature of a TV show, except that what they had to do to make this fit a movie was we spend 30 minutes in the first episode. Then we go bang, 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 as fast as you can through the filler episodes in the middle. And we only stop at the quests that give us the new party members that otherwise would never be explained at the end. And then we get a 30-minute finale. Mm-hmm. But in the middle of that show, apparently, Moana made a bunch of mistakes. But in the movie, because they cut all those episodes, Moana never makes a mistake. And yet at the end of the movie, Moana is all sad. And so instead of that being meaningful, she comes across as some sort of psychiatric patient because out of the blue, Moana is just, crumpled up and devastated. She's like, I always just make mistakes. And Maui sings that song, Let Me Get a Chihu, because he's trying to cheer her up and let her know that she can overcome her mistakes. But because of the nature of this movie, which is a Frankenstein kind of, cut away 80% and what can we do to get a 90-minute movie out of it? She never made any mistakes. So the song makes no sense in the film itself at all.
As opposed to You're Welcome, which tells the legend of the actual Maui in musical form, and Lin-Manuel Miranda at his best, doing a little bit of light fare, a little bit of urban flair to it, and introduces the character in a perfect way about how great he is. And you see that he is, in fact, someone great, but his worst quality is his best quality, is that he really believes the hype about himself.
So here's the question to the panel. It's going to make $170 million off of the popularity of the first, but it's going to damage the franchise, which now it's a franchise. It's going to damage it because it's terrible. Is this a win for Bob Iger? Like, does he win? I just noticed the EIB cap. Darn it, that's cool. Does it get
25 years?
Does it get Iger a win? Does it get him a win? Or, because all that matters to Bob Iger is the finances of this. Mm-hmm. Does he get a winning message out of it? Or does this overall, is it egg in his face at the end of the day? Which way do you guys think this goes?
It's going to be egg on his face at the end of the day. Once word gets out about this film, it's going to go downhill from there. Because here's something also to remember, and this is something that Iger forgets. Times are pretty tough. And to take a whole family to the movies, once you start hearing about this film, I don't see people taking their family to see it. What I see them doing is, hey, let's wait till Sonic 3 comes out. Or let's wait until the Wicked sing-along hits the end of December.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. And let's go to that.
I think Lorraine is like totally on point. And that was kind of what I was trying to get at earlier. The behavioral patterns of the Moana fan base right now is largely relegated to Disney Plus, to streaming audiences. And what Lorena is correctly pointing out is that if you are like, if this was me, okay, and I was an average American, family at that point with, average American middle income, my kids were all 10 years younger than where they are. I've got a 19, a 17, and a 13-year-old. Let's say that they were 9, 7, and 3, right? And I'm looking at this in today's ticket prices at $14 per ticket average, which is where we're at, kids. And I'm taking them to a theater, and they're going to expect me to buy them popcorn.
First of all, I got to stop Valiant Renegade right there. The fact that this man shows pictures of himself on mega yacht boats and fishing. I don't want to hear that he's going to pass up the chance to take his family to see a film. You cannot tell me that. Every other weekend, you're on a fishing boat. You got like helicopters flying in. You're hanging out with Trump. I don't know what's going on. But then you want to come out here and tell everyone on the live stream, look, I ain't paying no $20 ticket for Moana. But
I'm sorry, wait a minute. Jay, that was your yacht.
Now I know why he buddied up to Ron Coleman. He just wanted to get a chance to go spend time at Mar-a-Lago.
That was Drunk's yacht. I don't want to hear it.
Everybody was quiet. I've been quiet
That
too
was
long.
Jeremy's helicopter. That was Nerdrotic's limo. I don't want to hear it. No. No, but I mean, like, seriously, I mean, you're talking about, I mean, to take 2 parents and 3 kids to go see a movie right now like this, right? You're being much more judicious with things. You're talking about, this is a $100 to $150 day for the average American family, 2 parents, 3 kids, minimum, to go do this. So yes, I mean, they're like, oh, it'll be out on Disney Plus in 45 days, because you darn well know that Disney is going to be hard pressed not to drop this thing. Where are we at? This is November 27th. I would not be at all surprised if they don't huck this thing out by Christmas. Now, they might not. They've been 30 days from now, less than 30 days. I don't think they'll go that quick, because they've got Mufasa coming out the week of Christmas, right? So they're going to want to try to push that. But it all depends on how quickly the roll-off is for the performance of this film. I think it's going to open hot, like they're projecting. I think 170 million domestically. Honestly, that figure is not shocking me. Now, will it get there? We don't know yet. It might come in at 150. It might come in at 140. But Deadline, who, let's be frank, is the probably the most respected prognosticator of box office the week leading up to a release that there is, the Alessandro, top of his game kind of guy. If this movie underperforms what the expectations are that he's hearing from Disney, from exhibitors, from other studios, because he interviews all of them for this data, right? If it comes in under, if it comes in significantly under, 15, 20% less, boys and girls, we know where it's going. So, I mean, this is a high hurdle for this, but I think it's doable because of the first movie and what it did on Disney Plus. The question is, what happens after kids go back to school on Monday next week?
I'm gonna push back on you just a little bit. I think that Disney is so used to not making money on their movies, making actual money on their movies right now, that I think they would avoid the headline if they put this on Disney Plus before the end of this year. I mean, we've got 33 days until the end of the year. I think they're going to do at least a 90-day window before they put this on Disney Plus.
I would hope so.
Just so they can avoid the shame of it. And they're going to say that this is a huge hit, regardless of all of that. The blessing that they had with Strange World and Wish was that no one went to see them and they weren't recognizable brands. So this is an instance where the IP is working against them. So I've had people call me and say, "What is this movie? This is lame. My kids got bored watching this movie," which is really something, because I know those kids.
Well, the other thing of exposition will do that. It takes 35 freaking minutes to explain a plot that is paper thin, and that's offensive to paper.
Well, I think Disney is going to try to hold to at least the 45-day threshold, because that is a key threshold for exhibitioners. Major ones like AMC, like Regal, like Cinemark, like Marcus Theaters, like you go on down the list. A 45-day theatrical exclusive threshold is a key demarcation line for these things. So if Disney were to yank it at 30, they're getting paid less. The theaters, they've already got these built into contracts, generally speaking, to where, if you go to streaming sooner, if you cut our legs off sooner, you're taking a lower take. You're getting less at the gate. If you go to at least 45, you're optimizing, right? And if you go to streaming at day 45 or 46, you go to day 60. Hey, if you leave it 90 days, we'll pay you even more. I mean, this has been the case since 2021, and frankly, you can thank Warner Brothers for this, because Jason Kilar and the whole Project Popcorn crap that Warner Brothers pulled before David Zaslav got in there, that's the one that screwed the pooch for everybody. Disney was just as big of a culprit, although not as frequent a culprit as Warner Brothers was in 21. But that's where this whole new realm of theatrical exhibition contracts with the studios and the distributors came about, was because of this.
You know we must bid adieu for now, but folks, I encourage you, if you enjoyed this kind of video, well, we have plenty more and more on the way every single day. We do it for you. Check out the WDW Pro Channel and go click on videos. You can see the most recent ones and enjoy all the stuff we're talking about, and hopefully give us some feedback, because we would love to cater what we're doing for you. You are the consumer. You are our valued guest. It's how entertainment companies once upon a time treated the people who bought their stuff, and we're still doing it here. Folks, on the way out the door, consider clicking the like button, share, subscribe, click it, stick it to the algorithms. It is the notification bell. Drop a comment down below. Let us know your thoughts. And folks, as we get ready to say goodbye, we always say this because we think you indeed are special and matter. Wherever you are and whatever you're doing, keep learning, keep growing, and keep having fun.